And with the conclusion of that meeting, we are just about ready to get our first event really underway. The first group up is going to be the qualifiers for the sprints, our 15 through 18-year-old men. Junior competitors getting themselves warmed up for that event. Our start list for the group, I've got Grant Gallagher as our first competitor, followed by Ben Rackness, Ian Ulrich, Tyler Davies, and Jean-Luc. That's our last competitor. I have to check in with Jean-Luc about how to say that last name, because I do not want to embarrass myself on this very first session. I'll have to check that out. Welcome here to the Jerry Baker Memorial Velodrome. Thank you for joining us. If you're out here in our audience today, supporting one of our young riders, we appreciate you being here. We have sprint qualifiers as our first thing up, so our riders are going to be putting out their fastest 200-meter times that they can for the sprint tournament to occur later. So our riders will put these times on the clock. We'll save that information for later. We'll get them all seated up, and then we'll use that to see some pretty great racing later on. Following our sprint qualifiers, our riders are going to be competing in two sets of races. First, we're going to see some scratch racing as part of the Omnium competition, followed by tempo races. Sounds like we are ready to stage our first competitor, so everybody is set to go as he makes his way back around the warm-up circle here. We're going to start with our first rider as Grant Gallagher will check in over at turn 4 and be the first one to set a time today. On deck, we'll have Ben Rackness. Our next rider up on deck is Ben Rackness, followed by Ian Ulrich. Our first rider on the track, Grant Gallagher, going to be our first rider to set a time. This is a 2-lap event here. The first lap, we are not checking anybody's times. We're just letting the rider get up to speed on the flying 200-meter time here. The second lap, we're going to hope that the rider crosses over that timing strip on the back straight. There's a bit of red tape that's laid down on the back straight to catch them, and we'll get their official time here at the finish camera. And as I hear them, I'll announce them so we know where our riders are coming in with their times. On track again, Grant Gallagher riding for the Jerry Baker Juniors team. The black and blue kid, our local squad. The grandstand's filling up with some fans here to cheer on our young riders. How exciting is this? Getting the bell, one to go for Grant. Coming onto track, we're now going to have Ben Rackness getting on his warm-up lap, rolling up to speed. Ready to go next is Ian Ulrich. On deck is Tyler Davies. Our last rider in the juniors men group is Jean-Luc. After that, we'll go into the junior women competitors. And here comes our first rider. And the time is a 14.468 for Grant. 14.468. The bell ringing now for another Jerry Baker Jr. rider is Ben Rackness getting up to speed on the back straight. Ian Ulrich has come onto the track now. Team Velosport California is getting himself up to speed. Tyler Davies is the next rider checked in. And we'll have on deck as our last competitor, Jean-Luc, before we jump into our junior women's riders. Rackness riding in the number 501, just now coming across. Rider 501 finishing up. And a new quick time there from Rackness of 11.872. Sub 12 second time for Rackness. Ulrich on the back half of the track now, coming through turns 3 and 4, as he's going to be hearing the bell soon. Onto the track will come Tyler Davies after he passes. And our last competitor will check in as Jean-Luc is getting ready to go. 5 competitors today in our qualifying event. The fast time is 11.872. Bell's ringing for Ian. Showing good form here at our 400-meter track and using that back downhill stretch to try to accelerate up to speed and come down to the sprinter's lane as he enters turn 3. And in comes Ulrich. Another quick time of an 11.894. Our second fastest time by a very small split of about a couple hundredths of a second even, separating Ulrich from Rackness. 11.894 the time. Good time to serve as a reminder for our visiting folks from out of town to exit on the back straight on our long track as you can. There should be plenty of time to do so on the lap after you finished your event. And you can come into the warm-up circle for your cool down. Bell's ringing for 1 to go. This is Tyler Davies for Elite Race Team. That black kit getting up to speed. And coming onto the track now is Jean-Luc. Our women's qualifiers should be getting ready to go. McKenna McKee is the next rider up, followed by Katy Gibson. Davies looking like he's going to try to chase down some quick times here too, keeping it fast. Let's see what he brings to the line. And a new fast time at 11.113 for Davies, 11.113. So worth noting here is our next competitor has a best time in this event of a 10.271. That's his best record at this event. The track record around here is a 10.556. So let's see if he can set a record even here in a qualifying event on this 200 meter. It's a little tougher in these outdoor conditions to get those absolute top speeds. But he's going to try to show his stuff here. Fast time so far, just said a moment ago by Davies of 11.113. This is Jean-Luc really accelerating, chasing down that 11.1. See what he can put it at. Very smooth through the line. We'll see what the time comes out as. An 11.225 comes in for Jean-Luc. 11.225. So we've got 4 riders all sitting in that sub-12 category. Pretty darn close. This should be very interesting coming into some racing later on for these sprinters. And again, our fast time of the day ends up being Tyler Davies at 11.113. On the track right now is McKenna McKee. Katy Gibson is ready to get going, followed by Raina Placer. And that is our first women's competitor, our first junior woman on the track. So McKee gets the bell, and Gibson is rolling around, getting herself up to speed. Placer is on deck, ready to go next, followed by Kayla Hankins, our last competitor in the women's qualifiers. 4 competitors in this group. Nice acceleration here from our rider in blue. The first rider, McKee, coming to the line. .578. 12.578 for McKee. Starting the group off quick here is McKee with a 12.578. That bell's ringing for Katy Gibson as Raina Placer comes onto the track, and our last competitor on deck is Kayla Hankins. Next up on the schedule, we begin with our first of 2 Omnium races for each of our groups competing today. Our 15 through 18 men Omnium 1, the scratch race, is coming up here very soon. Our quick time in the junior women so far, a 12.578. This is Katy Gibson coming to the line. $13.738 is the time for Katy of Northwest Cycling Club. A 13.738 for Katy. Here from Lowell, Michigan, is Raina Placer, riding for the American Cycling League out of Detroit. She's the rider now accelerating on that back straight and on her bell lap. Our last competitor in the field, Kayla Hankins, on her first lap. And the fast time was a 12.578. Here comes Placer. $13.359 is the time for Placer. 13.359. That's Placer's time, our Michigan State track sprint champion, showing up here to the Pacific Northwest to compete on our race surface today. We're also going to be seeing Kayla Hankins here in a moment, getting the bell, and our last competitor for the women, national record in the team pursuit. She's got some speed in those legs. Let's see what she'll do here on this last qualifying time. All the way from Phoenix, Arizona. Team Lux looking pretty fast here through turn 4. Current fast time, still the first rider. I believe I hear an 11.863 as the time. An 11.863, and it'll be Hankins with the fastest time in the group, our last rider. An 11.863 for Hankins. Both fields showing some pretty similar speeds there. I'm looking forward to a sprint tournament that will be a lot of fast riders, but all very close to one another. So we'll look forward to seeing those riders come back for more. And when our later sessions, those sprint qualifiers have now concluded. Next group up, the 15 through 18-year-old scratch race. We're going to get ready to set you guys here in a second. This would be a good time for us to just take a little bit of a break, as we do need to give our competitors some time to re-gear themselves, get them set up for this competition. We're going to move the foams out of the corner, get ourselves set for what should be some pretty cool racing. Our Omnium competition's coming up. This is a good reminder again for our competitors, as you finish on the last lap of your event, to exit on the back straight into the warm-up circle on the same lap as you finish. Our Gentle Giant has plenty of time for you to exit over there on that side. A little bit different than maybe your home track. We get it. Again, just a few minutes of time to make sure our riders that are gearing a little different for the scratch have time to reset themselves, and we'll be back with the action here very soon. Looks like our competitors are heading out for their warm-up laps as we're going to just take a little bit more time to get ourselves set for this first of two Omnium competitions in the sprint. First up will be our junior men competitors. Good time again to point out one of our great sponsors here in the community that's hanging out with us today. Vision is not only our primary sponsor for our big race this year, the Vision GP, of course, coming here in the middle of our race season where we see some of the fastest racing here at the track during the course of our year. Vision has also stepped up today to help support our junior team and has brought some great gear for you to go check out. They're hanging out in the tent on the other side from the infield. You can go say hi, check out some of the great stuff they have at prices that you simply can't get anywhere else. This was a very exclusive offer for us here today to check out some great stuff that you can pick up at a price you simply won't be able to get anywhere else. And the best part about it, not only are you getting a good deal, our junior competitors are also getting some payback from that. All the proceeds from today go right into the junior team. All right, junior riders up in this scratch race, come on down to the rail. We're inviting you up to get set. Junior competitors for the for the scratch race. Our Endurance Omnium competitors, come on to the rail. Junior men, to the rail, please. Off we go for our competitors in this first of two races that they'll be competing in for the Endurance Omnium, the Scratch Race, an 18-lap event. First lap on the neutral, just starting to get themselves out and away from the rail here. This group of 7 riders will stay together, and as long as they maintain a group, we'll get them started out of turn 4. Pretty quick neutral lap. They're staying pretty close together here. It looks like we're about ready to kick this thing off. And off they go. Whistle sounded. The cheering from the crowd. They're excited to support the future of the sport here. Maybe that's too bold. They're just here to watch kids go fast. All of it's good times. So our group going out for 18 laps here. The scratch race, of course, we'll see who the winner is at the end of it all after they hear that bell lap letting them know it's one to go. Got a ways before that as we have a little bit of an early effort by one of our corner 4 racers pulling up and out of the way. Slotting into a line here. Scene 17 to go. Led up by a trio currently of the Jerry Baker team. Those time results have been finalized and posted from our sprint qualifiers. Again, our qualifiers for the sprint tournament, the times have been finalized and posted. Official results now up for those qualifiers. Ian Ulrich there, our competitor out of San Diego for Team Velosport, pulls up to the right side, getting out of the way. Riding some national colors today. Our 15 through 18 Madison National Champion is Ian Ulrich, so someone to look out for today in this field. That orange helmet on the front leading through. Another one of our local competitors is Rackness. We found some success this last year at the Fred's Race Regionals, our local championship that we do here for the Pacific Northwest. Taking the overall first place Omnium for the juniors competition that in this past year. Big attack here. Things starting to open up as the pace was maybe just not where we wanted it. Ulrich looking around, trying to see who he's brought with him, as Ian Ulrich is moving along pretty quick here. He's forced a good response from the riders as Brendan Hodgins, the rider for Corner 4 Racing in that kind of darker purple kit, has matched his speed. And now they've formed a bit of a break here with 3 riders forming the front of this race and a chase of 2 trying to get back on there. It looks like Rackness trying to bring himself back into the field. It's a long enough race to go ahead and put on the speed here a little early, try to peel off some of the competitors for later on. Ulrich's done quite a bit of work here. He pulls up to the right. Hodgins now takes the front. And it looks like we've got ourselves a group of 5, so the chase holds on. That's Grant and Alex working together. Some of our local competitors for the Jerry Baker Juniors team. Practicing, working as a unit. This group of 5, it's got 12 laps to go. Billy Taylor at the front in the blue and the black, ready for Star Trek team. Pulls up to the right, taking turns. This field's got a lot of different styles going on, a lot of different riders. Every time Ulrich gets to the front, he's going to use off a little bit more of that endurance power of his and just continue to set the pace, trying to peel riders off. They don't think they can hold on here, so Ulrich's going to try it again. Now we're starting to see the result of all that effort that he's been putting on there. It's starting to show. Kaiser of the Jerry Baker team in this group of 4. So we've narrowed the field down a little bit. Our starting group of 7 finds himself now into 4 riders, getting some help from the home crowd, seeing 10 to go. Starting to settle into a groove a little bit here, although every time we see Ulrich get to the front, it makes me a little nervous. He might try to put some pressure back on. Looks like they're settling in together now for a few laps, maybe getting some oxygen back in the system, getting ready for what should be an exciting finish for these 4. Our race leaders coming out of turn 4, we'll be seeing 9 to go. 9 to go. Billy Taylor again finds himself at the front. Billy Taylor also with some national pedigree, a one-time team sprint national champion. The rider in that bright blue kit. So star-studded in this group. A lot of strength, a lot of different riding styles. We're going to see how this plays out with a few more laps still in this interlude. The attacks have slowed down. Everybody looking pretty comfortable, though. That's certainly prime time if someone wanted to try again. Ulrich looks like he's going to do just that. A little bit more pressure, a little bit more tempo, a little bit more speed. So our group of 2 that was off gets taken over the lap, and the group of 4 now has started to snap a little bit. as it's now Ulrich leading the way. Taylor right on his wheel as he looks over his shoulder to see who's with him. He's just got the one. Here comes our Jerry Baker Jr. team riders trying to hold on a little bit as Kaiser and Rackness working as a duo on the same lap as our race leaders. Impressive effort here from these two, just trying to drop everybody else and looking like they're going to just continue to try to open up this space. These three have the ability maybe to work together and might be able to find some running room here to get back into the race. They're certainly not out of it yet, as our chase group of three, currently led up by Henry Kaiser, looking to get back into it. That gap slightly smaller than it was not too long ago, but our two leaders still in a great position here. They just saw 5 to go on those lap cards, so 5 to go. We're getting into the final mile here of the race. Kaiser and Rackness showing a lot of grit here, trying to get back into this. Currently in the 3rd and 4th position if the race were to stop right now. And about 25 or so meters off of those two lead riders. Just enough speed from Ulrich and Taylor, making it pretty hard to get back into it. These two are looking like they want to try to close this out with 4 to go. That's the two coasts here working together as San Diego on the front, followed by Manhattan. And we got both coasts racing together in this little duo. Taylor and Ulrich showing good form here with 3 laps remaining. The locals getting some extra help. 3 to go, 3 to go. Just within sight. Feel like it's within reach. It's going to take a big effort to close that gap in time. There's again, showing a lot of determination here in this first race for them in this Endurance Omnium. Two to go, 2 to go. 2 to go, 2 to go. The carrot is right in front of them. Can they make something with the time they have left? There's not a whole lot of it. Here we go. It's getting close. They're going to be getting the bell this time. And look at this. They're racing against each other as Taylor swings up to the right. So does Ulrich. 1 to go. It's 1 to go. 1 to go. Ulrich at the front. A little bit of a mix here from our junior riders kind of getting bunched up as it's going to be 1 to go for everybody. 1 to go. Taylor's looking for some room now as he comes out slightly into the front of this. Rackness is getting a little bit of a roll-up as well. Ulrich sitting in second wheel position. Who's got the kick left? Rackness is getting a bit of acceleration. It's going to be Taylor still leading it out. The rider in blue. Ulrich's got some speeders out of the saddle. Here comes Rackness. Catching back on. Getting enough speed. Here comes Ulrich. Taylor. Ulrich will cruise it in for the win. Henry Kaiser there will hold on for the 4th place finish. Our top 3 already cruising across the line. They'll exit on the back straight as their race is finished up. Everyone will exit on the back straight as the race is finished. Take a left-hand turn right there into that warm-up circle. Darn. Almost. We'll try next time. It's hard, I know. It's so strange. And this in our first race. How about another round of applause for our junior men competitors in that first event? An excellent showing. Our women competitors coming up to the rail now. This, their 12-lap scratch they're getting ready for. Our women competitors coming up. Our next race getting underway with the neutral. It's our women competitors. The 5 and going out for 12 laps of scratch racing in the first for the Endurance Omnium, their first event. We could not do what we do around here at the track without the support of our good friends here at Marymoor Park, and especially the King County's park system. They've been extraordinarily supportive over the years of our outdoor track facility, and stepping up pretty big this year in coming out and helping us repair our track surface. There's a lot of cracks over the years that form in these, and we did not have to foot the bill. The Marymoor Velodrome Association has been fortunate enough to have such a good relationship with our friends at the parks that they came out here and did the work. Our thanks to King County Parks for all that they do to help make racing happen here in Redmond. And there's the whistle. Let's get this thing started. So this group of 5, a slightly shorter sprint, or scratch race, excuse me. And the distance a little bit less. However, a lot of the same things could evolve here. This first lap looking like everybody's waiting to size each other up. Who's going to make the first move? Who wants to set this early pace? Let's see what everybody's about here. Moving high above that blue line, leaving lots of room for someone to take advantage of the shorter way around the track here in this first lap. Again, there's this hesitation. Who's going to be the first to try to make a move? At what point in the race are we going to do that? At this point, we're still waiting for that to happen. It's Maya Duncan, joining us from Katy, Texas, for Northwest Cycling Club, slots herself down in the sprinter's lane and takes that front position as everyone just kind of comfortably gets up to speed behind her. If you're joining us here on our stream and checking out what's happening, you are tuning in for the Junior Nationals Track Cup number 3. In partnership with USA Cycling, we are supporting young riders this weekend as what is also a potential Olympic development and identity project, and trying to find the next generation of competitors on the national stage. Velodromes across the country have been hosting these events to promote and also to help identify those riders. So folks have been showing up and competing in these events. This, the third one here at Jerry Baker Memorial Velodrome. And this, the first event for these women competitors in the Endurance Omnium in this first session. Jack Rue Racing going to get things moving with Heidi Martin, the rider making that first move there, trying to put a little bit of an attack on the group. Slots herself back into second wheel. Our group of 5 now forming a good line here. It is a bit of a gusty day, so our outdoor track, of course, always prone to the elements. A little bit of rain this morning, but we're looking good now. The gusts do make it a little bit interesting out there. A little more important to think about where you're placed behind the rider in front of you and getting the benefit of that slipstream, as it depends on which way you're going on the track. If the breeze is in your face or on the tailwind, and so our riders being thoughtful of that. Just about to the halfway point, we've had one major attack, and the group has kind of fallen in, working fairly cooperatively here for the last few laps. That's the 7 to go mark as they come across the line that time. 7 to go, and their 12-lap event. There's a little bit of a pull to the right as riders are trying to hesitate again, maybe looking for their next opportunity. At 6 to go, halfway through this race, looking for their spot in the group. Lauren Zeinhardt there near the front in the blue kit here from Portland, Oregon. Getting down to it. Seeing 5 now. Our field riding closer to that rail. Clumped up and waiting for the next opportunity. Also see some of the banners around the track here are thanks to some of our other significant sponsors that have helped made track racing possible here in Redmond for all these years. Greg Cycles, our good partner, with stores in Seattle, the Green Lake area, and Bellevue. Greg Cycles has been a yearly supporter of the track for years, and their support has gone a long ways in helping make track racing a big thing here in Redmond. And hearing the call, it's about time, she says, let's go ahead and make a move here as Kelly Darlene for the Jerry Baker Jr.'s team will launch down to the sprinter's lane. It's getting down to it. She saw 4 to go, thought maybe this was an opportunity to set up something, and look at the gap she's starting to open up here. So Kelly starting to move out. The riders are forced to do something as she's put some chips out on the table. 3 to go, Kelly, 3 to go. Jackaroo Racing is trying to do the work to bring this back as Heidi's getting down into a little bit lower position there, trying to bring this field closer to Kelly. This is an all or nothing move. This is the race for Kelly, and the rest of the group deciding if they're going to challenge her or not. If they do, Kelly's going to be in a tough spot to be in a top 3 position. If she can hold away, she's got this race. How about it, folks? 2 to go. Kelly Darlene. Whoa, 2 to go. She's looking like she's got some more to give, but time is really crunching down on her as this field is starting to organize themselves. She has opened up this gap. It's just enough if she can continue to find the speed here. Driving all the way from Bellevue, Washington to compete today is Kelly. I know it's a terrible commute. Here she comes. Can't she hold on? The local competitor. These national challengers trying to chase her down. There's a group of 3. Kelly getting the bell. 1 to go. 1 to go, Kelly. 1 to go. Here comes our chasing group of 3 also getting the bell. That gap is pretty big. Can they get back up to her? Lauren Seinhardt looking up in front of her, seeing that gap. Like, man, that's a long ways to go. How'd she do that? Now Heidi trying to make the move. Whether this is the race for first or second almost doesn't matter now as in that final lap. As Heidi's starting to accelerate, she's got a nice gap opening up over the rest of the riders. Here comes Kelly on a 4 to go attack. Keeps the field away. All the way in from 4 to go. And out of the group for Jackaroo Racing, Heidi coming in for the 2nd place. It'll be Seinhardt, I think, coming out for 3rd in that sprint. Followed closely by Paige Ziska and Maya Duncan coming in as well, our competitor from Texas. The 5 riders will exit on the back straight in this exciting women's scratch race is now concluded. A couple of minutes of rest time is necessary here. Just a few minutes before we'll start this tempo for the men, our junior men competitors in the tempo coming up here soon. Just a couple of minutes of time here. right, just a few moments here. We'll be starting this next race, our tempo. The second race in this Endurance Omnium for our competitors today. This will be the last set of races before we'll take a bit of a break and get ready for our second session, the evening session here on Friday. And we thank everybody for joining us today, whether you're here in the audience or you're checking on our online presence and watching from afar. We've got competitors here from Texas, from Michigan, from New York, Phoenix, Arizona, San Diego coming up from on the coast, Portland, of course. We've got riders from a lot of different places coming here to Redmond to enjoy the racing. We thank you for joining us. Hope you are having some fun here in Redmond while you're here. And if you haven't already thought about maybe your dinner plans or want to think about some other stuff to do while you're hanging out, maybe you should check out Experience Redmond. Their online website's a pretty cool place to go to see the events that are going on here in Redmond. Maybe you're extending your stay a day or two and need something to do. Well, check out Experience Redmond online. Their website will get you started with some things to do in town. And if you plan on coming and visiting us again, they'll help you get good deals on the best hotels around and see just what's happening in downtown on any given day. Again, that's Experience Redmond, and one of our great sponsors here for 2019. Results are being posted on the infield. We did solidify our seating for the sprint tournament later on based on the qualifying times from earlier today. The Omnium results have been posted for the junior men for their first race, the scratch race. Results are being posted shortly for the women as well. Calling our competitors for the men's tempo race. Competitors for the men's tempo race, you are invited to the rail. Come on up. Our next group up after this will be the women competitors for their tempo. That'll be the last race of this first session. Now coming up to the rail, our junior men competitors for the tempo. And the neutral underway for this tempo race. Just in case our folks in the audience didn't quite hear or catch how this one's going to go, and for those watching from afar, the way the tempo is going to work today, we've got an 18-lap event. The first 4 laps are essentially setting up for when we begin to give out the points. That's going to be signaled by a bell, which we'll hear at 14 to go. On the next lap, the first rider across the line will be awarded 1 point. That'll continue every lap until the end. There will also be a bell at 1 to go, just to remind everybody that it's finishing up. The rider with the most number of points after those laps are completed will be the winner. This is our second race now for the Endurance Omnium. This is the junior men on track getting their neutral lap completed up for their 18-lap tempo. Looks like they're all together. We'll get them started here shortly. And there's the sound of the whistle, and we can get this thing started. Next time around, there's still no points just yet. Couple laps of setup before the first bell is rung at 14 to go to signal that the points are going out. And our winner of the first race, not surprisingly, Ryder's kind of marking and getting behind his position, trying to watch what he's going to do with this one. It's Ian Ulrich sitting at the front now with the dark blue kit. Team Velosport bringing Ulrich today, swinging up to the right-hand side, and he'll let someone else take a shot at the front. No points yet, and they know it, so we're saving up the big sprints for when it counts. Getting in a position that they might consider favorable and thinking ahead to when that bell is ringing for the first points. There is no bonus points on the final sprint. The final sprint will be a tiebreaker in case there's anybody out there with the same number of points on the final lap. That final sprint will be used to break ties. So riders will want to keep track of that as we get there. I'll announce points as we go, the unofficial points totals, to try to keep everybody updated on where we think everybody's at. Yeah, a little bit of a move here. He knows there's no points on this lap, so maybe not as big of a challenge. Maybe an early attack. Good move here, and might be able to pay off with some points as Henry Kaiser, the Laser, shooting off ahead of the rest of the field. Bit of distance here between him and the field, and might be able to pick up some early points. And we're getting some help here from the fans, knowing that this is a pretty cool move. This might be an opportunity for him to get the early points and build up an advantage over the rest of the field. Nobody willing to do that kind of work early on when there was no points on the table. This is a nice move strategically. As they're coming through this time, we will get the sound of that glorious bell letting us know that the first rider across the line will start getting points. And at this rate, it's going to be Henry getting at least one, we'd think. As here he comes down the straight, getting the bell. Points next time, Henry. One more time around, you get a point. He's trying to find a little bit more in those legs, keep the tempo nice and consistent so he can pick up at least one for his efforts. Some of our newest members of the team showing up today to compete in this event for the Jerry Baker squad. And off the front, it's one of our Jerry Baker riders coming out of the turn, trying to find his first point. And it looks like he's on track as there's some payout here for this early effort. Henry looking over his shoulder, trying to make a decision here, what to do next. He will pull up. 1 point might be enough to guarantee you a pretty decent spot here in this group of 4. We'll see. It's a lot of work. He'll try to get back up into that group of 3 as they do not hit the pace too hard as they come underneath him, giving him a chance to get onto the back of the group. Still lots of laps left to go. The lead group will see 12 as they come around the corner. And our race leader, Henry Kaiser, will find himself in a tie with somebody else as now we have a bit of a sprint at 12 to go from Rackness, picking that up unchallenged. Rackness and Kaiser share the lead, 1 apiece. That group of 4 has both race leaders in it. Our winner of the last race, Ian Ulrich for Team Velosport, is now sitting at the front without any points just yet. Almost assuredly going to be keeping our speed up a little bit more. Overall, the average speed of these lead four will stay consistent for quite some time here. But attacks coming every lap. Ulrich trying to hold on for a point. Looks like it'll be Billy Taylor this time for Star Trek, taking his first and putting him in a three-way tie between Kaiser, Rackness, and Taylor. The only rider without points is Ulrich, who appears to want to make that happen from the front and just make it hard for the other riders to stick with him. Seeing 11 to go for our chasing group of 3. And the lead group will see 10 the next time as they come through. Taylor finds himself at the front, and he will try to hold on for that and get another point. And that gives him his first lone lead in this race. 2 points for Billy Taylor, the rider in that bright blue kit. The red frame pulls up to the right and gets out of the way. And after his sprint there, the whole group feeling like they need to catch their breath. Our group seeing 9 to go. It's going to be Taylor again, just kind of sneaking up underneath in the sprinter's lane, taking the points when they're available. And he'll build it up to 3 now. 3 for Taylor, 1 between Rackness and Kaiser. They're tied for second place. And now he's just waiting for what might be the sign of weakness in some of the other riders for him to try to maybe go off alone, much like he saw Henry do earlier. Maybe this is his chance as Ulrich now launches an attack off of that sprint, looking to pick up his first point and open up some space here between him and the nearest junior. 8 to go. And that's our rider, Ian Ulrich, out there all on his own, coming through turn 4 and trying to just pick up the rest of these points if he can. Puts him up to 2 in second place now. Our unofficial race leader is Billy Taylor with 3. Ian Ulrich sitting in second with 2. Henry Kaiser and Ben Rackness are both sitting in third, a tie with 1 apiece. So our race leader is back in what is now going to become the field of 6 riders. And this lone break of Ian Ulrich is going to be the one racking up the points for quite some time. Ulrich for his 3rd point and a tie of the lead. Looking like he's going to just try to roll with this now and even picking up pace as he goes through it. That 6 to go mark. 6 to go for this chasing field. Half of those riders did get caught on the lap there by the leader, so our group of 6 in the chase and about 200 meters back from the race leader, who is, again, seemingly accelerating here impressively, picking up speed. Nothing slowing him down as Ian now has 4 points and the lead on his own. Second place now moves to Billy Taylor with 3. A tie for 3rd between Rackness and Kaiser. Still holds 1 apiece. Our 15 through 18 Madison National Champion in 2018, Ian Ulrich, is looking like he might want to just go ahead and catch that group. He's got some motivation there. He's got wind in the sails, and he's trying to use some speed here. He knows he's got a break after this, too. The session's about to come to a close, the last race here before a break. Not a bad place to be. Ulrich's got 5 and continues to pick up more points. Here's our field, seeing 4 to go, and the leader seeing 3 to go. 3 to go for Ulrich. Now has 6 points unofficially, and our leader by 3 points. The gap has closed down significantly. Looking like he might put himself into that field if he wants to. It's not necessary, but, you know, it's fun. Get some reward for all that effort and catch back onto that field. seeing 2 to go. And there's the catch. So the field goes down a lap, and the leader has caught onto the field. Next time around will be 1 to go for everyone in the group. As Ulrich has caught the field, they go down a lap. It's 1 to go as they come through this time. They will all hear the bell. So now everyone's back in it. Here's the 1 to go. Ulrich still's got some speed left as Rackness tries to get an acceleration. It's Ulrich catching the field and wants more. 1 to go. Final lap for all the competitors here as Ulrich will just re-accelerate himself. There's only 1 point on the table for the leader as Rackness wants to try to go get it. The race leader, Ulrich, with the 28 points after lapping the field. The bonus 20, sitting high and mighty, but it'll be Rackness trying to get the last lap here. 1 more point for him, and that'll break the tie for third with his teammate Kaiser. So Ian Ulrich with a big hefty payday of 28 points. It'll be Billy Taylor unofficially in second with 3. In third place is Ben Rackness sitting with 2 points, and Henry Kaiser with the 1 will get 4 points. There's our 4th place. And coming up here in just a moment, we'll bring our women competitors for their take on the tempo. And we are set to bring up our women competitors to the rail. Women competitors to the rail for your tempo. I see. We're putting in a moment to fix a technical issue. So while we take care of that, again, we are going to close down action for a little bit following this race. We're going to take a break between this and our next session. Racing starting at 7 o'clock tonight with our second session. We've got our sprint tournament going on for our women and our men that qualified here in this event. We've got more racing in the Omnium to go. We've got our 3rd and 4th race in that. I've got points racing, elimination going on. So tune back in for that at 7 p.m. That's when we're going to be kicking that off. Beverage garden will be open for our spectators here in person. You can enjoy a fun atmosphere tonight cheering on our juniors. Track will be open in the hour or so ahead of that event for athletes to come and get themselves warmed up. So please feel free to come back and do that as you need. All right, looks like we've sorted things out here. All right, let's bring it up to the rail. Thanks for your patience, as it is time to get this last race in this session underway. We'll let our officials team get the instructions given to our riders, get them out for their neutral lap in this 12-lap tempo race. All right, so off we go. As a 12-lap now, the bells will be a little different for that first point, so we're going to hear about 8 to go. Still the same amount of time before that first point goes out. So at 8 to go, we'll hear the first bell. 1 point per lap, just like our last event, all the way down to the last lap. We'll hear a bell at 1 to go as well, as a reminder that things will be wrapping up, and any ties that are still remaining will be broken on that final sprint. We appreciate all of our fans for tuning in onto these our new live streaming event here. We've been trying to promote all week long our live streaming that's been going on for Friday Night Racing. If you'd be so inclined, we'd love to have these videos shared far and wide so we can get a lot of viewership here and what is just the beginnings of our YouTube and Twitch.tv channels, so we can try to get a lot of viewership for great racing here. And of course, when we got USA Cycling in town and the juniors from all over the country, we'd like to make sure a lot of folks can check this out and see what's happening here in Redmond, Washington. So share away. We're trying to up our online game. So if you have any feedback, you want to get a hold of any of our staff, or maybe you have some suggestions or capabilities that you might be able to volunteer to help us, we would love to hear from you. Trying to make it easier for fans anywhere and everywhere to see what's happening here and support our riders from across the world. Here we have our group of 5. In the first couple laps you saw in that last race, there's no rule saying you can't go for it and set up for a point or two like Henry did in that last race. So our girls could do the same thing. Here they are in this first lap. No direct motivation on this lap to go get a point, as the bell hasn't rung yet. We'll hear that at 8 to go. If you have any other thoughts or things that you'd like to know more about when it comes to track racing, maybe you are just here by chance, heard something was going on, and you're checking it out, or you have more questions, we'd love to point you to our website where you can find a whole lot of stuff about our velodrome, our calendar, our entire series of clinics, programs, education for your young riders, for adult riders. You can find that all online on our website, velodrome.org. The best domain name in all of track racing, velodrome.org. The home of everything related to our track here. You can find more information about our nonprofit that runs the place, the Marymoor Velodrome Association. Been running this same facility since its construction in 1975. Recently renamed, of course, a few years ago to the Jerry Baker Memorial Velodrome after the passing of the man who basically got the whole thing built, did all the work to start this community up. At 10 to go, the field slotted themselves down in the sprinter's lane and is trying to sort things out here. Who's going to be the one to move things along each lap? Here we go, getting close. Our winner of the first race sitting at the front at 9 to go. The next lap is a bell lap to remind him that points will start going out for the first rider on every lap. This is the second race out of the Endurance Omnium for these competitors. So we're keeping track of how they're doing over the course of time. Again, our Jerry Baker Jr. rider, Kelly Darlene, is the current leader in the Omnium after winning the scratch race. Our field of 5 about to get that first bit of incentive, as they'll know that the next lap is worth a point, and we can see who our early leader is going to be. Point to the leader on the next lap, point to the leader on this, and each lap henceforth. 8 to go. And our Portland rider is going to try to get things going on this lap. As Lauren Zeinhardt looking pretty good here to get the first point and opening up a little bit of space for herself too at 7 to go. And the early lead to Lauren. She's trying to make up some ground there. She sits third in the overall Omnium from that first event. You got to take the points when they're available, and it looks like she's got a window of opportunity right now, so she's going to continue to try to capitalize on that. And for as long as she thinks she can, she'll keep putting these pedals down and see if she can hold on for a few more. Here comes another point for Lauren. Getting 2 on the boards now. That's going to be our only rider with any points. She's got the lead at 6 to go. And this tempo is not very long. Riders that accrue 3-4 points or so, that's going to be a big deal. So Kelly says, I got to go now if I'm going to challenge. I can't let this rider get too much here. So Portland versus Seattle as our local rider trying to catch back on to this attack from Lauren off the front. This is going to come down to the front straight here. She's got the momentum. It looks like she's able to carry it. Kelly's on her way for a point. Darlene rolling it will get her first point. Our group of 3 here going to have to work together if they're going to bring back Kelly, who's now opened up a nice big gap here. Again, if you can get 2, 3, 4 sprints in a row, that's going to be a big deal in this tempo race, even if you don't get the last sprint. So here's Kelly's window now. She'll take her turn to the front. Our current race leader falling back a little bit, still in front of that group of 3, is Lauren Zeinhardt. Here comes Kelly for her second. Darlene now sitting in a tie with Zeinhardt, 2 apiece to them. And our rider from Portland for TCNF legal team starting to find herself back into this main field. Getting down to it with only 3 remaining on the lap cards the next time Kelly can see them. And about to push through into the lead position. The lone share of the top here. 3 to go. 3 to go. Kelly will have 3 points at the 3 to go mark, and she's alone in the lead. Big gap here, and it's continued to open up a little bit on the last 2 laps or so as Kelly's found enough speed here to just keep pushing it and open this window up for herself to a point where I think she's going to be able to just collect the rest of these points. 2 to go, Kelly, 2 to go. This lone effort, very impressive here. The race is on for 3rd place at this point. The early attack from Lauren, very wise. She's put herself into 2nd place, and as long as Kelly's away, no one can challenge her for it. The other 3 riders in this field are racing for 3rd, and it may just come down to the final sprint between them. And it's still Kelly that we see here over in turn 3, way off on her own. Almost half a track between her and the rest of the group, and on our 400-meter track, that's a big distance. Here's the bell, 1 to go. Kelly Darlene trying to wrap this up. One more time around the track, and she'll take this one home as well. Coming in through turn 4, the field, again, out of this group, the race is on for 3rd place for sure. Lauren in that blue jersey is our second place rider right now in the race with 2 points. Everybody else is looking for their third place finish here. They won't get points on this sprint, but it will matter here how it ends. Here comes Kelly coming out of turn 4. And the race leader finishing it up and getting the home applause here, taking the race with a nice work on that one. Here comes our field, and the sprint is on between these three. Again, third place on the line. Big acceleration coming out of the turn. Oh, they're spreading out across the track. Here they come up. Oh! That might have been too close to call for me. Maya Duncan on the inside will take it by a hair. Maya Duncan on the inside will take that sprint by a hair. Whew. Exciting. Finish there for the women. All right, as we stated, we are going to be going into a bit of a break here as we have some time off before the evening session. Thank you so much for showing up here and supporting our young riders in this first session today. In the break time, we hope you grab some food, relax for a little bit, come back to join us for that evening session starting at 7. 7 o'clock tonight. We've got session number 2. The sprint tournament will be on. We've got the third and fourth leg of the Endurance Omnium, eliminations and points racing coming up. So plenty of cool stuff still to see. Again, thank you for tuning in. We'll have the stream back up this evening, and we look forward to seeing you again here at the Jerry Baker Memorial Velodrome.